piece it back together again. Season 2 of Peacemaker is over, so let's talk about this season. Season 2, after discovering an alternate and more desirable world, Peacemaker is forced to face his traumatic past and to take the future into his own hands. As we know with this season, it takes place in the new DCU, retconning some stuff from Season 1 as, well, that was in the DCEU. Could get a bit confusing at times, but it's whatever. Who is in this season, we do see John Cena come back as Christopher Smith, Peacemaker, and John Cena continues to prove that he is a great actor in this season. You can just see that he improved his acting skills, and that was great to see. John Cena as Peacemaker is just phenomenal. To which we also do get Jennifer Holland back as Harcourt, Steve Azzi back as Economos, Freddie Stroma, of course, back as Vigilante, and Danielle Brooks back as Adebayo. It was great to get more of the 11th Street kids in this. As in the start of the season, they're kind of like in a rough spot. There's some awkward situations between Peacemaker and Harcourt, which I have to say, I did enjoy their relationship in this season, because we do learn more about Harcourt. I'm going to get into some spoilers, so hey, you've been warned. But we find out that he was with Rick Flag Jr. right before the events of the Suicide Squad, while he was with Enchantress, pretty much making some events of the first Suicide Squad movie canon. But what it explored with her character was very interesting, because Argus pretty much has a lot of them blacklisted, and we are seeing how that is affecting them. To which we also see the Adebayo in a rough spot too. And of course, there's Vigilante, to which there were some hilarious scenes with Vigilante, especially in episode 6, but it does kind of feel like there wasn't really much for him to do this season, honestly. We also do get a lot of great moments with Steve Azzi's Economos in this, as like he just has a lot of great character moments, still working with Argus, but yet trying to still secretly help Peacemaker out. And that was great to see. But I do think we did get great moments with the 11th Street Kid. We do see moments of them bonding with one another, some drama, unfortunately. Plus some great moments with Eagly, as we do see him end up having an arch nemesis played by Michael Rooker. That didn't last long in the season, but yet that was still, I can't lie, it was pretty entertaining to watch, pretty funny. Eagly's the GOAT, you do not mess with him. With this season, we do see many new characters or some familiar faces. Like Frank Grillo, we do see him come back as Rick Flag Sr. from Superman and Creature Commandos, as he is now the head of Argus, and he is wanting payback against Peacemaker. I got to be honest though, I wasn't really a big fan of what they did with Rick Flag Sr. in this season. It just felt like a completely different character than when we got introduced to him in Creature Commandos. With this season, we do see him end up teaming up with Lex Luthor and his man, and I wasn't really a big fan of that. All I got to say is that Rick Flag Jr. will be disappointed in his dad. But we do see Judo Master come back, and what they did with his character was pretty cool for the most part. Not a big role once again, but yet it was still fun to see his character in this, as there were some pretty cool moments between him and Adebayo. Plus, we do get introduced to Sol Rodriguez as Sacha Bordeaux, who was a great new addition to the DCU. She was a standout this season, one of the best characters this season. As we also do get introduced to Tin Meadows Flurry, who suffers from bird blindness, and PSA, bird blindness is real. As well as we do see an alternate dimension to which we see Robert Patrick come back as Peacemaker's father. Plus, we do see an alive version of his brother, played by David Danman, and like those moments like of Peacemaker with like the alternate version of his father and brother, like those were great moments, because we pretty much seen him face his traumatic past, but yet just having that family that he wanted, even though it turns out that that alternate Earth is a Nazi Earth. Like, yikes. But seeing the moments with him and the alternate version of his family, those were nice. Like, you could just see why the character wanted to be with them. I think this season did good with exploring Peacemaker's traumatic past, and I think it did good with the character stories for the most part, character arcs. Interesting how it left off from season 1. As with this, the first 5 episodes do feel like they're completely different compared to the last 3 episodes. As with episode 6, that's when things just start to get bonkers, as we do learn the truth about this alternate Earth, and Argus pretty much right there for them. Like, episode 6 and episode 7, that's when I think it was the best. And with this season, it does feel like there was just a lot of setting up. With this alternate Earth, with these character arcs, with Argus, with Rick Flag Jr. trying to go after Peacemaker. But by the end of it with episode 8, it did wrap up the character arcs perfectly well in my opinion. But it just felt like that there were very little payoff after all that. With how episode 8 turned out, I can't lie, I was kind of disappointed with it. Because this was a good season for the most part. But with the final episode, I just don't think it necessarily worked in fully wrapping up the season perfectly well. Which unfortunately just makes this a bit of a letdown. And I can't lie, I'm like a little bit disappointed in it. With the finale, it felt like that they were like going to set up a huge confrontation with this alternate Earth, but we did not get that. And it was like super overhyped by DC, by James Gunn. Which unfortunately, it didn't live up to the hype. And that's what disappoints me. But with that, I got to say that is pretty much my only negatives with this season. But with this, it does have some pretty raunchy moments, especially in the very first episode that gives the Hero-gasm a run for its money. It does have great character moments like I mentioned plenty of times, and it does have some pretty cool action. Even a very cool action scene with Eagly. But unfortunately, with how this season ended, I can't lie, I'm a bit mixed about it. Because we did get a lot of great moments, but just with that ending and just that payoff, it is a bit disappointing. And I do got to say, I do think Season 1 is better than Season 2. Overall, with Peacemaker Season 2, I am mixed about it. Because it does have a lot of great moments, but just by the end of it, the payoff, it didn't fully land well. Which sadly makes it a bit disappointing. But I still enjoyed it for the most part. But regardless of all that, have you seen Peacemaker Season 2? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below and follow me for more.